Hi, this is
You're recording.
Renee and
Kent.
Miller. We want to start by explaining a little bit about what we're trying to accomplish here. And so these lessons that we are offering are based on this book, The Augmentation of Man, a Study in Renaissance. These are lessons that have been given us by the ancients and professors at the spiritual world in higher levels of understanding. And at the request of the ancients, we published these lessons into this book. It is not an easy read, but it is there's a method to the madness, and it does produce some pretty profound understanding in order to help people, because we realize people have busy lives, they've got families, they've got work, other obligations, and not everybody has the time to put into understanding these lessons as they were originally dictated. Because we have not changed the language at all. We've added some synopsis in the book. We've added a glossary, as there's some new words that have been introduced where they've taken Greek and Latin root words and combined them to form new words that explain the concepts that they're trying to deliver. So what Kent and I are trying to do is a 4-step program, if you will, starting with these videos. It is the easiest way to get the information. It is the most basic. But we encourage you not to stop with the video. Go to our website, verdiance.com, verdiance.com, and go to first the chapter synopsis. That will be a little step up. It's a general overall picture of the chapter. From there, go to the blog. If you scroll down to the bottom of the website, you'll find the blog, the newest blogs, but you can also access all past blogs up at the top right corner, the 3 little lines there. And click on the blog that is it matches this video or the current video you're watching. That will go into paragraph by paragraph more detail of each of the lessons that are covered. And from there, then we recommend you return to the book. That will give you a head start. It will give you an overall picture of what that chapter is about. And hopefully, it will help speed the process for you, and through the original language, contemplate it. Spend some time thinking about each of the lessons. Take your time, don't force it. And that will provide a very profound understanding, and that's what we're looking for here. So today,
I'd like to thank those in the world that are looking at our website, our blogs, and trying to understand, and those that have bought the book. I thank you for your support. We don't make any money off of this book, but we're just trying to get the message out there to get people to understand what is really going on. Anyhow,
any possible proceeds go right back into promoting the information and getting it out there. So it's not for our own profits.
Anyhow, going into chapter 4, pages 64 to 65, thought and light communication. Where that light communication is energy. It's an intelligent energy. And its energy is put out for those to understand what is energy and what is vibrational thought.
So the light in review is mentioned in ancient texts. It is the energy that carries vibrational thought waves. and it is carried over a network that starts with source. So a lot of people refer to the creator or the infinite or God as source, which is not so incorrect, but in the spiritual realm, they use the term source to refer to this communication network.
It's a neuronet.
It's the beginning of the neuronet. So the two are combined. Source is the higher information. This more
higher, more intelligent entities that begin this source and diffused from a higher intelligence. It is a more dense thought, and I'm trying to get it down to a simpler thought where we can understand the communication.
So when we talk
what
about
is higher thought?
Yeah, when we talk about dense thoughts, that's a lot of thoughts, a lot of information that's packed into that that idea that's being transferred, or that concept that's being transferred. So denser thought is
a higher thought.
A higher thought is more intellectual, and less dense, of course, that would probably be where we humans fit in.
And it's all vibrational. All thought is vibrational patterns. And it's charged ions that interfere with the neurons and travel on the plasmic field.
They don't interfere.
No. Okay. They interface with neurons that travel on the plasmic field. Thought communication can be very intense at times. It depends on your definition of thought, but we're trying to define it so you can understand where this is coming from.
So the instructions are released by Creator or God, whatever term that you like to use for the infinite and
higher understanding. It's a higher understanding.
But the Creator is who we often refer to, because that is the way we have been taught. That is the terminology used most by the spiritual realm. So the Creator releases the instructions to the higher beings, higher reflective of higher understanding, higher vibration.
And with living organisms, whether it be plants or humans or whatever, everything is a living organism.
Right.
And it has its own pattern.
Right. But that can be spiritual, it can be or non-physical, or it can be a physical being. But so Creator releases the information, the light beings, or Creator releases the instructions, I should say. The light beings generate that intellectual understanding onto the network known as the source. And that's the beginning of the neuronet. So the higher intellectual beings can tap into the source, and then they can diffuse it down to a simpler understanding and a less powerful energy with that to beings who are at a lower level of understanding. So and then they access it through the neuronet.
It creates a pathway to the brain.
So it's this network in the atmosphere, and eventually it is it enters, that communication energy enters the body through the chi, the area of the chi, and we'll go into that later. But it goes through our neurological system and eventually interacts with our brain.
Influences thought
patterns. It influences our own thought patterns.
And why does it do that? Prompting us to evolve.
Prompting us to evolve in our level of understanding to a higher level of understanding, to denser thoughts.
Well, what is a Carcanian influence? I've never heard of that.
So this is mentioned in our lessons, and it is in the book. Carcanian influence is used on cultures, younger cultures who have not yet attained the whole of one. So these are younger cultures who are more on an individual basis, and they have not yet come together as one.
And boy, you can see that here.
And it's a thought pattern that is used to influence the individual thought patterns in beings who are classified as perceptual beings. So perceptual beings are learning about perception. That is one of the basic fields of study. So humans fall into that, and that relates to our past learning cycle that we're now completing, which would be involved with the fourth world. We're entering into the fifth world and conceptual understanding.
It also talks about waves of higher intellectual cognizance interacting with our nervous system. How does that work?
So the same thing, you know, that thought pattern travels through this network known as source and filters down, diffuses down into the neuronet, and we can actually tap into the neuronet, or we can learn to do that and access. It's kind of a brief information, but along those lines, other entities can also communicate higher thoughts to us and higher understanding. It's kind of a parallel network, if you will, that these beings are able to communicate telepathically and deliver these thoughts to us. And the way that you would realize that is, you know, when you would have an epiphany and suddenly realize and understand something that you didn't understand before.
So those thoughts are universal thoughts?
Yeah, it's...
From what? From entities? From relative beings? How does it reflect upon universal consciousness?
So we have, within the universe of all beings, there are beings that are called relative beings. These are the ones that set the parameters for universal consciousness.
These are not relatives like cousins and uncles and stuff like that, right? Okay.
No. So these relative beings release waves of intelligent and cognizant thought patterns onto this neuronet to allow other beings such as ourselves that are not a part of that network yet to be able to access a higher intellectual or to perceive a higher intellectual presence, if you will, of higher entities.
It's an ever-changing intellectual energy that's constantly moving, and it's dictated by the Creator. The goal of the whole Creator is to help all those in the universal field, but to help those begin their understanding relative to who they are. And that's very difficult. And it's called all that is ever-changing increase in the intellectual energy. And if you've noticed, the intellectual energy is increasing very quickly, dramatically here on this plane, this planet.
There's an all-out push to get humans up to snuff here so that we can fit into the rest of the universe. There's a reason why we're on the very tip of the arm of our galactic spiral, you know, we're kind of isolated for a reason.
We'll talk about that another time. Anyhow.
Yeah.
Let's go to release.
Anyway, there's a variety of thought wave patterns that are released, and it's specific to each species and their intellectual ability.
Yeah, okay. All organisms have intelligence at its own level. There's not one level of intelligence. There's various levels, and each different entity or each entity has their own level of understanding and intelligence at a particular time.
And it coordinates with their physical structure, too.
Yeah. So even plants, as you notice, if you, and it's been shown by many test results, etc., you can talk to plants, and plants have their own thought of vibration, their own feeling, the vibrational feeling that helps them do what they need to do.
It's how they perceive thought. And so one way we can think of this or draw the parallel is that the plants respond to the thought wave pattern of UV rays. So you can see how they'll move toward the sun, toward the UV rays.
But all this environmental balance, environmental, intellectual, vibrational things that are coming to each individual species, all is related to a specific intellect of that specific species to create balance here on Earth, which the Earth is totally out of balance right now, as we will almost know, and it's struggling to come back into balance.
Yeah, and so one of the things that I found most unexpectedly interesting is that we were told that each species was brought here to create balance. So it's important that we realize that all things are here for a reason, and that is to provide balance. And so when we as humans disrupt that, then we are changing the balance of the earth.
Yeah, so again, that concludes this particular area of communication. But again, I would like to thank those in Australia and South America, and Spain, and various in Europe, various places around the world that have taken up this challenge of intellectual understanding.
And I think that you'll find that you'll get a lot out of it. The more you put into it, the more that you will reap. So we encourage you now to go to our website and fordiance.com, check out the chapter synopsis, check out the blog, and then find yourself in the book. And we assure you that you will have some evolvement in your understanding that will really impress you. Have a good day. Take care. Until next time. Bye-bye.